All right, guys, let's get right into it. We have some earnings to break down here that just came out. And by the way, the markets today had a great day. The S&P 500 ended up going up 1.2%. Same with the Russell. We had the NASDAQ go up 1.6%, and the Dow went up over 1% as the VIX actually went down 1%. So we're going to break down a bunch in this video. You guys know the deal, stocks, the markets, all that good stuff. So let's dive into stock number one, which is Palantir. And if you guys didn't know, Palantir reported earnings, and I actually didn't see the earnings yet. We're going to react to them live right now, which oh my God. Look at this, guys. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? This is insane. It's at $9.15 or 5 cents after the bell here, and it closed at $7.60. So massive move here after the bell for Palantir. It's up 20% as I'm making this video. And full disclosure, I'm not in Palantir right now. I've traded it a couple times over the past couple years, but for me, I'm personally not considering it as a long-term investment here. But if you're in it, I'm not dogging you. I'm just saying, full disclosure, I'm not in it. But it looks like here, maybe I should have been in it because it's making a 20% move. So let's see what ended up happening here. Looks like they did Q4 EPS of 4 cents on revenue of $509 million, which beat the $505 million, and the estimate for EPS was 3 cents. So they beat EPS. They beat on revenue. Looks like here they guide for full year 2023 revenue of 2.18 to 2.23 billion rather, which is a little bit under the estimate of 2.28 billion, but not by much. And it looks like here, what's their revenue growth year over year? I'm not seeing it here actually. I wonder what it is though. It looks like slower growth ahead. Okay, but the thing is, okay, that's what it is. They just posted their first profitable quarter ever. That's got to be it here, which is that counting private, when they were private? Probably. I mean, which this company's been around, if you guys didn't know, for what, 20 years now or something like that? Maybe not quite yet 20, but pretty dang close. So it looks like they just posted their first quarter of profit. Kudos to all the shareholders out there. That's awesome. Now, the question is, the $1 million question is, are they going to maintain that? Are they going to be profitable each quarter now from here on after? Or is this just one quarter of profitability? They're going to dip back in the red next quarter. We don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the what comes out of the earnings call. But right now, if we look at the stock, guys, it is at $9.10. Again, it's up 20% after the bell, and we're approaching a big resistance. This is a very big resistance for Palantir, which you all can see right here is where we failed back in the beginning of this month. Not too long ago, Palantir was just at $9, $9.20, and then it dumped all the way down to $7 pretty much. So now we're back to $9.10, $9.20, which also was resistance back in October. You guys can see here, and it looks like pretty close to $9 was resistance. In early October, November as well. So yeah, this is going to be a big spot for Palantir stock. Needless to say, if it does break that 920 level, some gaps that we have on the upside here, 10, 1020, 1070 is another big one here. If we look at these, points from a couple months ago back in June, July, August, the high from August was roughly 1175. That could be a target. Not anytime soon, at least in my opinion, unless we get like a crazy short squeeze or something, which I don't even know what the short interest is on Palantir. But either way, I'm going to set my alert at 920. Let's do that now. Markets at or above, and we'll see where it goes from there. Actually, let me do it at 925, a little bit higher than 920. So yeah, Palantir, pretty awesome. Nice report there and pretty good, decent guidance. But the fact that that profitable quarter came in, awesome, right? Monster's another one. Monster had a 1.4% green day today. This is a stock that I've been talking about for quite some time, and it broke out of $100 when we were calling it out a couple months ago. And now in the past couple of months, it's been, pretty choppy around 102 to 105. So we called that breakout above 100. It was right here. This was back in November, right? We got that breakout to 105. Now we've been very choppy between 100 and 105 ever since November, So what I'm seeing now is we have an ascending triangle here on MNST. We can see clear resistance at 105, but higher lows have been made pretty consistently over the past couple months. You guys see one there, prominent one there, another one there, and then another one there. So, and mind you, today we ended up closing up on a nice pop, 1.4%. So MNST, at least in my opinion, guys, is on the verge of breaking out. So we'll see if it actually happens. It's not there yet. We've seen many fake outs in the past couple months, but we're squeezing deeper into that triangle, and I think this could be the time, potentially, which is why my alert is at 105. And from that point, if we break 105, is this already at all-time highs? It might already be. Yeah, it's at all-time highs. So we're going to be at a new all-time high. We're going to be in uncharted territory, so keep that in mind. And that's crazy. A lot of these stocks, there's some stocks out there, and of course the markets have been crushing it since October, November. You guys know that. But even during that point, there were stocks that were in stealth bull markets that were near all-time highs when the markets were getting wrecked. And now stocks, a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, but some stocks are at all-time highs. This one, another one that I was looking at that was at all-time highs. We covered this recently. What was it? Honeywell? No, I don't think it was Honeywell. Crap. What was it? I forget. It was one of those stocks. Maybe Caterpillar. Yeah, Caterpillar's near all-time highs if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at that. It just hit an all-time high. So a lot of these stocks are doing well, and maybe I'll make a video on those that are at all-time highs, which a lot of you guys might be like, oh, there's no stocks at all-time highs, right? Wrong. I mean, there's some that are doing very well. And again, the markets have been crushing it, but you get my point, right? And the next one here that I'm looking at is Best Buy, which today had a pretty good day, 2% green day for Best Buy. And this level that we're at now at $87, well, this has been a big point for the stock ever since the end of May, early June. You guys can see here we hit 85, 87 bucks roughly. We collapsed. Back in the middle of August, we hit 86, 87. We collapsed after that. Again, the same thing happened in the beginning of December. And, well, recently, we called this out, by the way. We ran all the way to 93 bucks, pulled back down to 83. Now we're retesting 87. You guys can see we're running back. We actually broke over 87, closed over it. So this one, I think, and we have earnings coming up early March, I believe, maybe the 2nd. Yeah, 2nd of March in the morning. This potentially could run into earnings. I'm not saying for sure, but if we could retake 87, which we kind of are already, and we start breaking 88, 89, there could be a lot of momentum to the low mid-90s pretty quickly, in my opinion, heading into that earnings report. So let me do this now. I'm going to set my alert at $88, and I'm going to take a sip of my watered-down coffee, guys. And my go-to drink at Starbucks, I mean, I don't go to Starbucks much, but if you want to know my go-to drink, hey, why not? You're watching the video. I get the tall iced, or it doesn't matter the size. I usually get a tall. I don't like drinking venti coffee. That's a ton of coffee in my opinion. But sometimes I get a grande. Either way, tall iced brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso. It literally tastes. I don't know if it's because I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't have it anymore because let's be honest, guys, all those cereals are horrible for you. But as a kid, come on. I mean, I used to crush a whole box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, even into my early college years. You guys know how that goes when you're in college. You're just eating. I was eating a bunch of garbage in college. That's a whole other story for a whole nother video. And this drink right here reminds me of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It is amazing, let me tell you. So let me say it again. If you guys want to try it, a lot of you probably have already. I don't know if it's a popular drink, but it's a brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso. Go check it out. Shout out to Starbucks. I'm going to want my affiliate revenue, Starbucks. Just kidding. But yeah, Best Buy is one. We got to watch it, $88. Google is another one that I'm looking at here. It's just gotten destroyed. And quite frankly, I think we're going to get a short-term bounce potentially before this thing were to gap down maybe to 90. I could be wrong on that. It's kind of risky here with this because it is kind of consolidating above the 180 SMA here, which has been support. It still technically is holding some sort of trend here, kind of. You guys can see it's fighting to do that. But then again, it's still under, the highs or the lows from last week. One of the lows, at least. We're still under the 50 SMA. This looks like it could go either way. So I'm not gonna jump into Google as a trade quite yet before I see confirmation. But I'm watching it. I'm watching it. If we hold the mid 90s tomorrow, maybe we start gapping up towards the highs from Friday, which I think we're right around 96, 97. We start pumping towards that, that direction. That could be a sign. 100, maybe higher, could be coming. But again, it could go either way. We might be gapping under, for all we know, 91, which in that case, I wouldn't be looking at it as a trade. If anything, I'm going to be adding to my position because you guys know Google. I own a good amount of Google. It's my biggest individual stock holding. I've been saying that for years at this point because it's been the case for years, for at least the past 2 years. Maybe not years, like 5 years or anything like that, but definitely the past year and a half, 2 years, Google's been my biggest stock holding, and you guys know that. I mean, if you watch the channel, I've been saying that pretty much not every video, and I'm not jamming it down your throat, but when we talk about Google, I mention it, right? So I'm watching that in the mid 90s. I'm also looking at, and I just realized I never took a sip of this, did I? It's pretty good. And I'm also watching Beyond Meat, funny enough. Not for a long-term play, but for a trade. We can see my alert is set at $17 on this thing, and we can see it's cooled off considerably from last week. It was like $21 last week. We had a short squeeze, or was that the week before? That was the week before. Either way, remember that short squeeze we had from $17 to 22 in a day? That was a 21% move, and then it cooled off. And now it looks like we have earnings coming up, which I'm not really concerned about that. I'd be looking to trade it before earnings or maybe even after, depending on how the price action is. But we're approaching that 17 level, which you guys can see that was resistance in early November, mid-November, early December, middle January, maybe not early February, but late January. You guys get the trend, right? 17 is a big resistance. So if we do break out of that point, this could be one worth looking at. For me, at least. I'm going to be looking to maybe jump in and out of this. This is not something I would hold overnight, to be honest. Maybe I'd just, the way I'd play it is a quick day trade. If we see that momentum, if we see volume kicking up, I would consider it. But not for an overnight trade or for a couple days. For me, it's too risky. This thing could go down 10% in one day, 20% in a day, like that. So for that reason, only a short, day trade, momentum type trade is, how I'm looking at that. And Fastly is another one which did very well today, 27% Green Day. But before we break down this chart, if you guys have not gotten your free stocks yet for Moomoo, I don't know what you're doing. Down below, you can get up to 15 stocks, each up to $2,000, or you can simply go to staserfs.com, staserfes.com/Moomoo to get your stocks. And of course, all those links down below, the Moomoo link and the Webull link, which you could get up to 12 stocks from them with any amount deposited. All of those links help out the channel, guys, and without you, this channel would not be possible. So I appreciate all of you watching. Get your free stocks. Let me know what free stocks you end up getting. And now let's take a look at Fastly, which went up like a rocket ship today. This thing went up 27, almost 28% on the day. I mean, this is insane. And it wasn't like we had a squeeze. A lot of the time when you see these stocks, guys, go up 30% in a day, a lot of the move comes in the span of 30 minutes, right? You get the massive squeeze, and then it kind of drifts for the rest of the day, right? In this case, we were moving up all day. I mean, pretty much all day up until 2 p.m. on the East Coast, which, at that point we started to drift off a bit. But for the first, 5 hours of the trading session, this went from 1075 to 1150, $12, started creeping up to the mid-12s, hit $13 by 2 p.m., then it started to fade off. So this is really looking strong. It's not like we had that huge run in the morning followed by an even bigger sell-off. I mean, we've seen that before with a lot of these momentum stocks. This had a pretty sustainable run today, and it's on pace, it says here, for its biggest percentage gain since 2020 as analysts cite overhaul under new CEO. It looks like they just got a new CEO. Looks like also Bank of America Securities upgraded them. I guess that's a pretty good sign, although I don't like just solely buying based off of analysts. I think I've talked about that before. That's a pretty bad idea. But the reality is, analysts move the markets. I mean, that's just the reality. Look at this. We got an upgrade Fastly to buy from underperform, and they adjusted the price target from $10.50 to $16 a share. That is going to move the stock. That's a 60% higher price than previously, than the previous target. People are going to be like, oh my God, the stock's at $10, $11. They think it's going 16. Let's pile in. And look at that. The volume this morning was unreal. And it looks like that came out after the bell on Friday. We saw a huge move up, and that clearly continued. Or we saw the big move on Friday. I think the Bank of America thing came out this morning today. But clearly that move continued, as you guys can see. So Fastly is one that, if we go back to the 4 hour, it's breaking out. at, above the highs from February. So let's see if that could hold on Fastly. And the last stock for the video, guys, I appreciate you all for sticking out all throughout to the end. You guys are awesome. Is Disney. Disney's one kind of like Google, where it could go either way at this point, but I just think it's a little beaten down here from, a couple days ago. A couple days ago, the stock was at 122 after earnings came out. Now we're at 107. And honestly, this probably could go lower. Excuse me. It probably could come down to maybe 98 to 100, 102. And that'd be an even juicier spot for a short-term trade, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, Disney's one that we're looking at. I'm looking at, I don't know about you guys. This is not financial advice. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just breaking down charts and telling you what I'm looking at, right? But, anyway, 100, 102, 103 bucks. This could be a point where I'm not saying we're going to go all the way back to the 120s in a day or two, but we could get a short-term kind of relief rally bounce on Disney to make a little money on the short term. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the video. And of course, the markets, we kind of talked about them earlier today. There's not much, new things that came out about the overall markets. We can see SPY still on that wedge. So let's see what direction we pick. Same thing with Triple Q, right? We're in that wedge on the 4 hours. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Make sure you guys subscribe because we're going to be making more content, of course. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, hit that like button. Don't forget to get all your free stocks down below, guys. Again, I appreciate you all. As always, you guys are awesome. Get your 15 stocks from Moomoo and your 12 stocks from Webull. Check out the Patreon too if you guys want. I'm building out a portfolio on there, posting the buys, sells. Well, there's no sells. I just started the portfolio, but we're posting screenshots in there, building that portfolio out. There's a Discord. I'm posting charts throughout the day. Patreon, link down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.